Joining us now is Mr. Pablo Diaz. He's the newly installed president of Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation. SIRC is their stock symbol. Pablo, welcome back to the program.
It's a pleasure to be back. Good to see you, sir.
Well, I know that you are recently the president of the company, and your company, USA Solar Networks, was recently acquired by SIRC. How's the honeymoon going along?
It's been it's one beautiful long 6-month honeymoon. It's the best career choice of my life, and I think our data reflects how the symbiotic relationship that we have. USA Solar Networks, that subsidiary, has $62 million in signed deals and in pre-construction as we speak. So they're doing good, and this new role at SIRC as president really allows me and us to flex our wings in a space that we've been in for a long time. So really excited about it.
Well, it's really interesting. We spoke with Troy Clymer, your chief operating officer, a couple of weeks ago. He was talking about a $200 million run rate for 2022. That's just simply amazing.
It is, and it's and we feel real strong about it. It's something that I often share at investor conferences and I'd like to share maybe a little bit of our story now, if we will, that we've kind of synthesized for SIRC. What we've really evolved into is a national alternative energy development firm. Through our M&A strategies, we've amalgamated 14 different brands, and these brands are really our experts in their field, but they're also our origination points. As the national development firm, we source the capital, we source the material, and our origination partners are our subsidiaries. As we've shared before, we've centralized certain functions that allow us and our subsidiaries to scale, which is accounting, HR, IT, a new finance division that we brought into the SIRC at the SIRC level in order to manage all projects that are closing. The closing process is essential in alternative energy because there's so many moving parts. So that finance division is really going to allow our subsidiaries to scale their platforms also. And one final thing that we're closing now is we're centralizing our procurement, which allows us to purchase at the $125 million in revenue that we're going to do versus purchasing as 14 separate companies. That automatically we're seeing a 10% margin increase there. And we're projecting our new finance division, which we've managed in this industry for 13 plus years, to create about 5 to 6% margins. So it's really allowing us to buy at the levels that we should be buying at, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. You know, it's really interesting because when we first started covering the company about 6 or 7 years ago, Solar Integrated Roofing was a regional Southern California company. Now, as you say, become national. The growth has been nothing short of meteoric.
Absolutely. And you know, our quarterly report for, obviously there's only so much I can share, but we're very, very proud of what we will be sharing to the market shortly. And even from year over last, we did 17.1 million, and we're certain we're going to surpass our $100 million revenue guidance for this next year.
Well, I want to talk about one thing because you know, you folks are dealing with customers on a daily basis. We always think that COVID is going away. Every time it's going away, we have another variant, another. Now we have Omicron that we're worried about. How has COVID changed the company? How has COVID changed the business?
So that's a great question. Initially, when it first hit, let's say March of 2019? I mean, it's, you know, that last year, 2020, it shut down the whole industry, admittedly. For 6 months, it was hard to do installs, definitely couldn't do sales because all sales back then were in-person realities. But what that COVID paradigm allowed was for our industry and probably and many other industries in the business landscape was to learn how to communicate effectively through these other mediums, right? As we are on the Zoom call right now, it allowed for sales to grow, those sales platforms to grow in our space. We learned how to operate in a different paradigm, and that paradigm has moved into what we're currently dealing with, which is we can still operate. You know, municipalities are still open. Customers are okay with us doing their installations because they're outside of the houses or outside of the businesses. And we were able to still operate, learned a lot from 2020, and I do not see us going back to that type of lockdown scenario.
Well, you're absolutely right, because we started doing the programs via Zoom, and we probably won't go back to the studio ever again.
No, it really did change the landscape and several components of our industry and multiple industries, from remote working to remote sales and remote installations. Well, figuratively speaking, the human interaction component has been lowered significantly, and I don't see it going backwards.
Well, as I mentioned, Troy Clymer was very bullish on next year. How do you feel about next year?
I feel extreme. We analyze the markets a lot, and we see where the growth is occurring at each of our subsidiary levels. And I strongly feel that we're going to hit those marks, that $200 million mark, 100%.
Once again, Solar Integrated Roofing Corporation, SIRC. Pablo, congratulations on becoming president of the company. I know you're going to do a terrific job. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your platform.